From the Middle is a founding member of Odd Pods Media. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to episode number 238 of From the Middle. We are three middle-class guys living in the middle of America in the middle chapters of our lives with points of view somewhere in the middle. And in this episode, it's actually only two of us because Kory has abandoned us. We talk about all kinds of fun stuff like Nate Bargatze's most recent tour, some nuts, all kinds of drinks. We talk a little bit about comedians hosting the Oscars, QR codes, and a little bit of what we're watching. You're in for a ton of different topics and a ton of fun with Kendall and I. Enjoy.
Oh, for the love. Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it? You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved.
All right. Well, here we are.
What are the friggin' odds that the least techie of us is out for the week? Kory is gone. He's traveling to one of the techiest places in the world, and we are having all the technical issues trying to get this episode up and running.
Oh boy! So
Isn't it
Dillon,
ironic?
you got your microphone working, right?
The
Blue Snowball, we think it's working. My microphone is not working. So if I sound better or worse than I normally do, that's could be why. Yeah, and it is software issues and new computers
new computer. My camera this week is not my normal Mac. I got a new Mac for work. Yeah. I didn't have to buy it, thankfully, but a Zoom is not on it, and I don't have administrative privileges to put it on it. So I'm on my iPad, and the reason I say that is if you're watching on YouTube, this iPad and the janky setup that I have to keep it on my face could collapse at any time. Yes. So if you're listening only and you hear bing, bang, boom, we're probably fine. And if you're on YouTube and the video feed goes to my crotch, it could be that my not so handy dandy standy is holding up the way that I had hoped. So
here we are. Who knows what we sound like? Who knows what we look like? Who knows if this is even recording properly? I don't. We'll find that out later. But hey, Dillon, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I feel like unintentionally I had so many updates and like little notes and things this week and totally didn't know that Kory was going to be gone. So I feel like we have a lot to cover, you and I, and then he's just going to have to play catch up on the back end because lots of little stuff that I made note of that I felt like was very much in line with what we talk about on our podcast.
Very good.
How you doing?
Oh, man. Taking deep breaths now. Kids and family are walking in the door from karate as we speak.
Good.
Vans in the shop, down to one car, which makes it a fun week. And just living life. So I have a story that is new-ish to you and Kory. You guys kind of know some details, but so a couple weeks ago, didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. Amy and I were asked by some friends to play cello and guitar as ambiance music for a fundraiser for a family that's raising money for adoption.
Swanky.
And so we agreed to do that. We did that. That was a couple weekends ago. The fundraiser was a silent auction. And I don't know how many of you rich folks are well versed in the rules of silent auctions. But me, I am not well versed in the rules of silent auctions. All I knew was, from what I understood from instructions, was there is a form. You put your name on the form and you put a dollar amount down, and then I'm sure they explained it well enough that there's $2 figures on the form, one of which is the the value of the prize, and the other number is the starting bid. When I went to look at the form, my eyes missed altogether the fact that there was a starting bid, and all I saw was the price. And so I'm at this silent auction and walking up and down the tables. There's like 30 different things that you could bid on, almost all of which were like hipster care packages, right? And they were all relatively expensive, and it fit the room. Like people were going crazy. Almost everything went for over what its actual value was. Except, so you have all these hipster baskets. I'm using that term endearingly, and because some of it is stuff that I would have wanted. It was just too much. And then, like at the end of one of the tables, there's these 2 neon football bar signs that, like, halfway through the night, nobody has bid on these things yet. They're both Crown Royal signs. One is a Bengals sign. One is a Browns sign. And I look at that and I'm like, hey, I might actually be able to afford this one. And so I put my bid down for the Browns sign first. And because I'm thinking about getting that one for a friend. And so I write down, and there was a $3 amount on the form, which was the increment. So you can only bid in increments of 10. So somebody does a starting bid, and then after that, you have to be $10 more. I don't know how my mind put this all together in the moment. It's not like there was pressure or anything else. I saw the value and thought that is the starting bid. And then I went $10 over that and wrote it down on the paper. And ended up overpaying for this brown sign because I was the only bidder at the end of the night.
Well, I think other people were like, man, this guy Kendall is just so generous. He was willing to just right away start out the bidding at $10 over. And I thought the story might end with you winning the Mr. Beaumont. That's a little joke out there for our friends. But a neon light up Crown Royal sign is just as good.
Just as good. So I ended up winning the Browns sign, and nobody at all bid on the Bengals sign. And so when we were up and we were cashing out, we knew the people who were doing the cashing out and everything. And so we were like, hey, nobody bid on the Bengals one. And like, we got the Browns one for a friend. We're Bengals fans here. And my wife brought that into our family, and I have adopted the Bengals as my number 2 team. So how about we just round up and we'll cover the starting bid or whatever for the Bengals side. And they said, yeah, it's fine. That way we don't get stuck with it.
Yeah.
So we did that, and we went home with both of those Crown Royal signs.
Beautiful.
And so now I currently have the Bengals sign hanging up in my garage. And truth be told, Kory's probably going to end up with it, but not without me having a little bit of fun first.
Sure.
And so that's a whole nother story that we'll probably talk about when he shows up.
That's great. I think that could have only been beat by like a Duff beer reference or something.
Yeah.
Neon sign with like, what's the name of the like sports team in Springfield in the show? It's like the Atomic, the something.
I wish I was. I know quite a bit about The Simpsons, but I'm not a deep cut guy.
You're not in 40 seasons like the rest of us?
No, I'm not, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to watch it when I was a kid. And then
that's very generous that you got your friend paid over paid over MSRP for a Browns sign. Yeah. Whatever you paid for the Browns one, just tell Kory the Bengals one cost you half that. And then and then he's good for it. And then you won't be so out on the Browns sign. So I gotta say, like, I gotta tell the people out there that the deal that I said, I'm like talking to my wife because I don't, of course she doesn't care, but like
I'm still going to talk to her because she is from Cincinnati, and I don't know if maybe she secretly fell in love with this Crown Royal bar sign.
Well,
and I mean the chances are slim, but I did. I'm like, hey, Kory said his grandfather loves Crown Royal and the Bengals, and everything, and I think that they should probably have this. And what do you think of that? And she said in all caps, she's like, get back what we paid.
Yeah, exactly.
She was joking. She was joking about that.
She shouldn't have been. She's right. She was right. Her instinct was right.
My response to Kory was, find me a Michigan bar sign.
Yeah.
And we'll swap.
Swapsies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kory's reaction to that was something along the lines of, I don't think I can pay for one, but I can send you a link. And I'm like, I kind of want you to buy it.
Yeah. He'll be like, let me Venmo you how much the Michigan sign would cost, and then you ship it to your house and then give me the Bengals one. So that way he's not directly paying for the Michigan.
That way he feels better about it. So having a little bit of fun with this.
Yeah, if he just plants himself outside of Ann Arbor, he might catch some dollar bills falling out of Harbaugh's pocket on his way out of Ann Arbor. And he can pay for it that way. So all he's got to do is just post up. He might get some of that Chargers money,
Maybe. Second interview with Atlanta, by the way.
Yeah.
What we thought was Bill Belichick's job. Will Jim Harbaugh get a job over Bill Belichick at an NFL team? Wouldn't that be nuts?
Yeah. That would be pretty wild. I mean, his stock isn't going to be much hotter than it is right now. So
that's true.
I understand wanting to get paid while you can get paid. For sure.
We'll see. Or he could be playing Michigan with this whole thing too. Like he
could be.
You have to actually set up interviews. You have to actually follow through with the NFL to get Michigan to do what he wants Michigan to do, which is give him
just keep paying him.
Keep paying him and give him a get out of jail free card. Like that's what he's looking for. He wants stipulated in the contract that like, if you cannot fire me for cause with any current NCAA investigations.
Yeah. Clearly the mind of a clear conscience. The clear conscience always wants a get out of jail free card.
Well, so, I mean,
good for him.
It's the story as it stands is one where it's possible that he's telling the truth and gets major consequences from the NCAA. Like both of those things can be true simultaneously.
But
because of the buck stops here thing.
Yeah. Well, the buck hasn't stopped here because he would have just when Connor got picked up, he would have said, no, that's on me.
Well, the buck stops their thing. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
The NCAA has that bylaw that says we're going to assume that coaches know everything.
Yeah.
Or it's not a bylaw, but it's a whole thing. We'll see what happens with it. Ohio State is reloading.
Yeah.
They're paying. Their NIL situation right now is through the roof, and they're making giant moves with it. And man, they're loading up.
You got Lane Kiffin out here tweeting that we spent like $13 million, and I honestly went, that's all? I mean, that kind of money was floating around in colleges before NIL. This just feels like kind of a normal amount of money for the number of people we're picking up.
Ohio State's gonna be fine, which will be good. I mean, I think it'll be good to have the rivalry back. It'll be good
it's
for the game.
We will have been we won Natty in 02 and then again in 14. If we could win another one 05, you're talking about a little over 10 years each time. And look, with Nick Saban gone and people bailing on that program right now, there's an opening for some new dynasties. And Clemson, we'll never know if they're down and out, but there's some openings. So I think it could be fun if in a new era of two major power conferences being the Big Ten and the SEC, it'd be fun if the Big Ten was also winning their fair share of national championships.
Indeed.
It would be way more fun that way than just the SEC winning the lion's share of national championships.
Yeah.
So,
and it's heading that direction. I think iron sharpens iron. The Big Ten is getting way more competitive, and that can only be good for everybody in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So especially the college football playoff is expanding. So, you're going to see 3 lost teams make it to the playoff and
regularly.
Yeah.
And we'll start seeing some, the first 4 lost team will seem shocking, but they will have gone through like a Big Ten or SEC gauntlet,
exactly.
like the hardest schedule, and they're going to have only lost by a touchdown or less each game, and you're going to see them slide right in 12.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Michigan next year, Michigan has Texas next year as a non-conference. Michigan has, they're playing everybody but UCLA of the newcomers. So Michigan's got Washington next year and USC and Oregon on top of the normal Big Ten stuff that they have. So
yeah,
I don't know what Ohio State's schedule is, but it's probably something similar. And
yeah, we have it's not as tough, but I know we play at Oregon, at Penn State, home against Michigan. Oregon, our non-conference slate is pretty light because I think Oregon was supposed to be non-conference this year, and then they just turned it into a conference game when they joined. So I think they were supposed to be our non-conference game, but
it's just going to be an extra conference game.
But it's just going to be an extra conference game, yeah. So because I think we played 9 conference games.
Yeah,
but, it's going to be fun. Loading up on the roster will sure help with depth because you got a couple extra games in the playoff. Yeah. You're gonna want all those quarterbacks and running backs and stuff. So that's good. We gotta get out all the football.
We got to get out all the football, and we bored our core audience to death already.
Yeah.
I pissed off some haters.
That's fine.
But you were there. You were there to hold me in check.
Yeah, that's good.
You didn't even flinch at my it'll be nice to see the rivalry come back again joke. But
yeah, I'm not really worried about it right now. So
you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. That was a nervous joke on my part, by the way. The Michigan's got a whole lot of unanswered questions right now, and Ohio State is answering all of theirs at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think this is make or break season for Ryan Day because with a bigger playoff, it's just going to get a little tougher. But I can certainly see that he's taking the offseason very seriously. We'll put it that way. It'd be very clear.
It'd be asinine to fire Ryan Day. That'd be stupid.
Because I don't know who you're getting instead. Yeah. Speaking of boring our audience and other things we've been up to, I didn't get a chance to talk about the Nate Bargatze tour. Stopped in Columbus for 2 nights. Yeah. He's on the Be Funny tour right now. Very good. It was nice to finally have seen another favorite comedian in person. We saw Sebastian Maniscalco a couple of years ago. We saw Pete Corielli. Kory and I went to see Pete in the fall. And this was another one off the list. Very, very good. If you haven't seen Nate, definitely check out any of his specials. His most recent is on Amazon Prime. So I would go check that out first. I would say this was as good as if you've got a really nice TV and sound system at home to create a really nice environment. It was as good as watching it in that environment. I don't know that I would have to go see him again. He's not as animated as some of their comics that can pay off in the form of energy in the theater. But it was very good. It was worth going to see once. It was very funny. He had like 3 openers come out before him that were all funny. And actually, did you see Jimmy Fallon just came out on the same tour? Jimmy Fallon came out to bring out Nate in New Jersey.
That's wonderful.
I thought that was pretty cool that he came out and brought out Nate for his show in Jersey. So it was very good. It was definitely a funny show. People need to go check him out. And actually, for people that are fans or becoming fans, if you don't know, Nate started his own kind of media company called Nateland. And you can check out his stuff on YouTube. They've got a channel, and you can go follow all kinds of clips and videos and stuff that they do. If you really like his kind of comedy, go follow him. It's really good. They even opened with they opened his show with the SNL clip where he was George Washington. And played that right before he came out, which is pretty funny. So I'm glad they included that.
That's good stuff. I have friends we had friends over for dinner this past weekend, and they had gone to that show, and they also mentioned the openers, that there were 3 of them, and said that all 3 of them killed it.
Yep.
Which is really, I've only been to a couple of live comedy shows, and of the couple that I've been to, there was both of them had one opener, and the openers were great. Very good. Like, they have a limited amount of time, and so like you're getting their A material, right? And they're trying to make a name for themselves, so they're not going to put any B material out there. And their job is to like play to the crowd in front of them and get them ready and rolling. And I'm sure like a guy named Nate Bargatze can probably pull whoever he wants to come and open and get people in the mood to laugh at his first joke, right? So it's sounds like a fun time. Yeah. So I think we're going to cut the first half short here, take a break now, and then we'll load up right when we come back.
Hey, this is Grab and Brisket Podcast. Join us every Monday where we talk about the latest trends in barbecue, interviews with world top pitmasters, celebrity cooks.
Ooh, like Wee Man from Jackass.
And musicians.
Like Rich O'Toole?
So check us out. We do beer reviews, barbecue fails.
So many fires.
Dude, a lot of people just burn their houses down for no reason.
We also talk about cocaine hippos versus meth gators.
Learn how to make some tailgate gravy.
Altercations with Texas Rangers.
People throwing Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, so check out grabthebrisket.com for podcast info, viral social media posts, and so much more.
And we're back. That was a nice break. We got to hear from some of our friends in On Pods Media. What an incredible show they put on.
Those guys
in that genre of podcast that they do.
Possibly gal. Yeah, they're
guy or gal, either way.
Yeah, or both.
Or neither. Whatever they are.
Well, I wasn't going that direction with it. I was saying that there's some podcasts that have more than one gender.
Sure.
Never mind. Never ask the gender of a podcaster.
It's a great show. Go download all their episodes. So we talked a little bit about Nate Bargatze. I have so many other notes. I feel like I should check in with you before I just start rattling things off.
Okay. What are we checking in on?
Is there anything you wanted to come screaming out of the break to make sure that you cover?
I see. No, I'm loosey goosey, ready to go, man. Whatever cool. You want, I'm game.
I prefer juicy goosey, but either way, as long as it's not dry.
That's right.
Yeah. So I have a lot of food related things. I feel like you're the best person to talk to about all this. Sorry, Kory.
Fat?
No, I'm saying you and I like discussing food.
That's true.
Food and drink.
That's fine. That's fine.
I found something, and I want to know your thoughts real quick on peanut butter. Where are you on peanut butter? How much could you pull a Ted Lasso and walk by an open jar on a counter and lick it every time?
Oddly enough, yes. So it's just straight peanut butter. I'm cool with, and like peanut butter sandwiches and stuff. Awesome. I'm not big into peanut butter flavored things like candies. I'm not a big Reese cup guy. I'm not a big, I don't know, name your peanut butter. I'm not a big peanut butter ice cream guy.
Okay.
Things like that. But I do like peanut butter in and of itself.
Okay. So this will be interesting. I'm actually kind of glad that you said that, because I want to get your take on this now.
All right.
And I've already reached out to these people to be a sponsor for the podcast. There is a product that my wife stumbled across called Nerdy Nuts. Nobody go and buy any yet, because
your wife stumbled across Nerdy Nuts.
I stumbled across Nerdy Nuts. Yeah, other than my own. Anyways,
you didn't.
So she found this product from some people on social that were talking about it. Don't go buy any yet, because they need to sponsor the show, and then you can go buy some.
Send them an email and say that you would buy it if.
Yeah. Well, we've already bought 6 jars. I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, so Nerdy Nuts. So it is I'm going to call it a dessert themed peanut butter product that's meant to be spooned out of a jar and is definitely not single serving. It's not as big as like a big jar of Jif. It's probably it's shorter, but it's dense, and it is. I didn't say the word rich. It is dessert, but it's not like overly rich. But it is dense. It's meant to be something that you like eat a couple scoops of. But here's the thing. Here's what's crazy about it. So there's like banana cream pie theme. There's s'mores. There's confetti cake. There's peanut butter with like Reese's Pieces and caramel and all kinds of stuff. But I think the trick is, as I have consumed more and more, I think, you know how when you go places and you get like Amish peanut butter or like healthy peanut butter, that it's not sweet at all. It's like, it's a little nutty. You can taste like crushed peanuts, but it's a little more oily, but not sweet. And then
like straight up
your jelly or your jam is the sweet part. So it's a more natural peanut butter that's not, it's kind of like that. So if you actually look at the nutritional information, it not only does it not taste super rich, but it's like the nutritional information isn't that bad. It's like a couple tablespoons or 150 calories and 6 grams of sugar or something. So like you're spooning these things out that taste like you're having this like crazy like peanut butter dessert, but then you look at the back and go, that's actually not that bad, because the main part of it is like natural non-sugary peanut butter. So it's just like, so that's how it keeps it from being so over the top rich. Anyways, this stuff is super good. And if you want, they even have a really long, it's kind of like a Sunday spoon, but it's a little bigger at the end and it's got their logo on it. Yeah. So you can like order their branded spoon when you get it. So you have a really deep spoon to scoop it out with. That's super strong. And then of the people that make it, they have like baseball cards, but like with their information and their favorite things on it, like in the packages with the stuff. It's really fun. I'm like hung up on this stuff now because I'm like, it's a good snack. It tastes like a dessert. It's actually not crazy sugary or anything. And they make a bunch of different flavors. So anyways, they need to sponsor the podcast. We'll tag them in this episode. They need to sponsor the podcast. Because then I think we could do like a promo code and all that stuff. It would be fun. But it is delicious. And I'm hoping either I'll get some and not eat it before we get together in person, which seems unlikely, or we can get them to send you or Kory some that you can hold on to until we're in person again that I can't eat. Because if I can't eat it, then it might make it to a taste test and then we can talk more about it. But holy cow, I love peanut butter and it's so good. It's like, it's delicious.
Nerdy nuts. Are all of them peanut based?
Yeah, but like one of them might be like white chocolate peanut base with whatever, or one of them might be like chocolate cookie peanut butter base. So like most of it is just the kind of dense peanut butter.
Right.
But it's not so dense you can't easily scoop through it and eat it. Right. And it's not super oily and it's not super anyways. So like they might change the base a little bit and then they'll put some toppings on it.
I guess my question was like they're not doing like an almond butter something and then there's like a hazelnut something.
Not that I've seen, but I'm sure I feel like that'll be an inevitable next step that they can get into.
Start getting into the tree nuts.
Start getting into the other nuts. You gotta represent all the nuts.
Yeah, and they could call it trees nuts. No,
they can call it whatever they want, frankly.
They can do whatever.
It's good enough. So that's pretty crazy.
Sounds good, man. I'd try it. I'm down.
Also, I know you're a big fan of Mountain Dew like I am, because Mountain Dew loves to test different flavors. Not a new flavor, but have you seen the 20th anniversary of the Baja Blast? It's now celebrating 20 years, so it's no longer just at Taco Bell. You can go get it at stores. And I had an old man moment the other day when I saw the ad for the 20th anniversary. Like, I was there at the beginning of Baja Blast. And I don't mean even as a consumer, like a lot of us, because I'm older than 20. I mean, I was working at Taco Bell, like in the industry, serving it when it came out. I was old enough to have been working and selling it. And I'm like, I remember when it came out. And
we were in high school when there was any other kind of Mountain Dew other than just Mountain Dew, right? Like Code Red wasn't a thing until we were in school and old enough.
I think I was junior high, maybe.
Junior high, maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
I remember Code Red distinctly.
It was around there. We were school age. Point is, we remember before Code Red, which was, I think, the first, right? Yeah. And then Livewire came, I think, shortly thereafter. But back, growing up, Mountain Dew was Mountain Dew. And Diet Mountain Dew sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't good yet. Yeah. And I remember the coming of Code Red. I was very excited because Pepsi at the time on the bottle caps of the 20 ounces was running, especially in like the summers, they would run you could get points, or one of the things you could get was buy a 20 ounce, get one free. And you could take those to like any carry out or any whatever. Not all the country has drive-throughs, but like a carry out or a drive-through or a grocery store and redeem those little caps. And so we would do like buy one, get one free Code Red and like load up on Code Reds with our bottle caps. Speaking of blast from the past drinks, go get yourself some Baja Blast since it's out. I just saw the Snapple Elements are back in stores in a can. And what is that? Canada? No, sparkling. Another drink has like a can now. What is that? I don't know. But Snapple Elements is back. I haven't seen Snapple like that. Jeez. Do you remember those?
Snapple Elements? No, I don't.
You're going to have to Google it. This is where we need Kory to Google things and pull it up on the screen. Snapple Elements, it was like rain, fire, water, but the flavors were like a little crazy kind of for the time. And they're back in cans now, which is bizarre. So all kinds of interesting drink stuff. Clearly Canadian. What's that stuff called? It's in a bottle. Talking
about like the blue teardrop shaped dish kind of bottle?
Yeah, but that's the other one. That's the third thing I was thinking of. It wasn't the Snapple Elements. That was unrelated.
Right.
But yeah, the blue teardrop shape one, the Clearly Canadian or Clearly, those are in a can now, and you can get zero sugar, which is exciting because those are delicious. So many drink updates. I saw plain LaCroix existed, and for many people, they probably knew for a very long time that plain LaCroix was a thing. That's gross. Like that's even worse than the bad flavored LaCroix that they would make a plain one. So I hope nobody's drinking that or knows that it exists.
Well, it's seltzer water. Like people like seltzer water. I like seltzer water.
Yeah. And I guess maybe if you already know that LaCroix is bad at adding hints of flavor, then you just go for their plain one and you just drink that because they're not good at flavor.
Well, yeah.
It was just depressing.
We've been over this. Like seltzer water without sweetener is what it is.
Yeah. Not only did the can look depressing, but the idea of an even worse LaCroix was even more depressing. And so that's just where we are. Speaking of social people sharing and drinks, my wife found a video of somebody who said she had been recommended to try Dr. Pepper with a shot of espresso, cold espresso,
okay,
and then a splash of like half and half or cream.
Okay.
And so in my mind, I'm thinking this is kind of like a soda float is kind of where it's like, but with coffee kind of.
Yeah.
I don't normally try these things, right? So there's all kinds of, oh my gosh, try this at home and try that at home with drinks and whatever. And I did try this one. And it was disgusting. I just want people to know.
Was it?
Not good. Coke tried for a very short time, if you remember the tall cans where it was like Coke with coffee.
Yeah, we tried. I think we tried that on the podcast. I think we tried that.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I don't know what made it go wrong. That it didn't. Maybe Dr. Pepper was like too sweet. Or maybe like they used a different kind of half and half, or maybe this different kind of espresso or something. I just got Starbucks espresso from Target and then a little bit of sweet creamer, and it was nasty. It was not good at all. So if somebody else has tried that, I would love to know what they tried and if it was any good. Bad luck. Have you tried any of the food crazes, like these memes, reels?
I'm trying to think. I don't get into those very often. The last one I think I tried was my wife made it was like that crazy foamy coffee stuff where you use instant coffee to make it, and you make like this coffee whipped cream kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I forget what it was called. But I tried that and it was good. It was it was like it was a very strong coffee flavored dessert kind of thing. But also dangerous, right? Because of the sheer amount of coffee that it takes to make that stuff. And then it's super sweetened. So it's kind of like the equivalent of an alcoholic drink that doesn't taste like alcohol. Like you could drink way too much of it real fast. It's like you can give yourself caffeine overdose real quick with that stuff.
Yeah, interesting. Didn't that one use like instant coffee grounds you had to buy?
Yeah, you had to use instant coffee for it.
Yeah. So if anybody is listening and has tried some of these drinks that I've mentioned that are back, or some of these crazy social media concoctions or food, let us know. Send us the recipe if you find good ones. I don't recommend the Dr. Pepper and espresso one. It was gross. I choked down as much as I could and then got rid of it. I did have another question. Kory's going to have to weigh in on this as well. I've seen this not as widespread as I'm glad it's not more widespread than it could have been, but I've seen more than I'd like. And that's QR menus, QR code menus. Yeah. And the first thing I think of when I see the QR code menu things, I remember very distinctly back to a conversation I was having with somebody that I used to work with in the tech industry. And they were talking about the use of QR codes. And they were basically saying nobody really knows what to do with QR codes. Like nobody's figured out a really great use case yet, but companies feel the need to use it, especially marketing teams, because it gives the illusion of being tech savvy as a company. Right. Like, oh, check out our whatever. And and especially companies who are just using them to take you to their website. It's like you could just go to apple.com. You don't need to have open a camera and wait till it captures the thing and then tap it just to go to the website, right? Yeah. If you want to do some kind of Easter egg type fun, register for a contest or a giveaway or something like that, but now we've seen some restaurants do the whole QR code takes you to an internet website that's just a PDF of their menu. I'm all for trying to find ways to leverage technology, but I feel like I can join the boomer crowd on this one and just go, no, just hand me a menu. Just give me a menu. I don't need a QR code. Or like if you want to do a QR code that runs you've got a cool bar or restaurant and the QR code takes you to like your digital music system where people can like queue up music or something. That would be a fun use for the people who are already like on the QR codes and want to play around. Or
a QR code receipt to pay on your phone.
Yeah, like it's right at the bottom, scan here, and you can hit Apple Pay or Google Pay and be done really fast. I think that is like actually finding some use cases that are interesting.
Yeah. I'll tell you, we had at our church on a Sunday morning before Christmas, we had an ugly sweater contest thing that was being used as like a sermon illustration. But anyway, so people were encouraged to wear ugly sweaters. And then we did a vote, congregational vote on the who had the ugliest sweater, and we utilized a QR code for that. So we put it up on screen and people could take a shot, and it brought you to the polling place on your phone. while the sermon was going on, you could sit there on your phone and vote for the ugliest sweater.
Yeah.
So that I feel like that was a decent quick use of a QR code.
Yeah.
Things like quick something specific so that like you don't have to search it. Like I'm with you. Like don't take me just to your website. Like use it for a particular kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. I also think like people who might not have a smartphone when they go out, or which that's not super likely, but also maybe don't want to waste their battery on using their phone to sit and look at a menu at a restaurant and scroll through. I don't know. It just feels like it doesn't do anything for me.
I don't think I've been anywhere since COVID. During COVID, there were restaurants that just would not hand you anything. It had to be. But these days, I think that's gone. Like even the ones that still have here's our QR code, like they still bring you a menu. At least the places that I've gone, like they still just hand you a menu, and then there's this like leftover sticker on the table of their QR code menu that still works, but you still have a menu in front of you.
Yeah, I also think a fun idea would be if you're a restaurant. Another way to use it that would be fun is don't have the waiters or waitresses or whoever tell anybody, but that could take you to a secret menu of a few items and a few drinks that you can only get. Don't even write near the QR code what it is. Just have it there. And if people scan it, look it up and go, hey, I want the Jack Lemmon burger.
Well, because
what you
can do there.
Trump Coffee, they're gonna go, okay, wink, gotcha.
Exactly.
I know what you want.
Exactly. It's like what In-N-Out did with like Animal Style and stuff. It's like everybody knows there's a secret menu now, but it still kind of feels like the secret menu kind of thing, and that could compel people to go there because they feel like they're on the inside of something.
Yep.
And
I love it. Just solving the world's QR problems one code at a time.
And we're helping all the marketing teams at these restaurants. They all need to listen.
We got the Oscars awards announced today. I'm not going to go into all those, but I did see an article a couple weeks back, and I do like the Oscars. We talk about that every year. Mm-hmm. We don't watch the award shows for celebrity worship, but we do like to find new content to watch and to listen to, and that's much easier to do if you can see what people really like, and that comes in the form of an award show. So not always, but that's one way. But I did see, not long ago, we had Joe Coy hosted the Emmys or hosted SAG Awards or one of them. Joe, he's a comedian. He just hosted one of the recent award shows and kind of bombed, wasn't very good. And of course, there's always the write-ups the next day when comics host and talking about the hosting and the outfits and all that different stuff. And Kevin Hart released an article that basically said he won't host the Oscars again and saying that that's just the wrong crowd for a comedy host anymore these days. Just not a good audience for a comedian. I thought that was Kory might want to weigh in this too next week, but I feel like that's a really good discussion for us. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why? I'd love your thoughts.
Yeah, I feel like Joe Coy hosted the Golden Globes.
Golden Globes, that's what it was. Yeah.
And I mean the Golden Globes, like that's where like famously or infamously, however you look at it, like Ricky Gervais handled the Globes like 3 years straight or something like that.
Yeah.
And absolutely like ripped everyone to shreds and like they'll never ask him back probably again unless they get low on ratings and then they'll want him back. But the Golden Globes seem to have that vibe, right? Of we can all be here, we can laugh at ourselves, we can have somebody on stage like roast us. The Oscars feel a little bit more self-important. We're going to take ourselves real seriously on this one and that kind of thing. So yeah, I agree. I mean, the vibe certainly that's been created is that the Oscars are more formal, more serious, more artsy. Yeah. And the Globes tend to be more tongue in cheek about themselves.
Which is interesting because I think they're self-aware just enough to realize that they need awards that can honor shit like movies like blockbusters, because they know that they're losing their audience for the awards, but not so self-aware that they realize they're too stuffy to let a comic host, and still laugh at it is the key difference. Like, it's okay to laugh. I think a lot of what happens is they know that a comic, especially a popular one, can get them rating eyeballs on the show, right? They specifically invite people that they know are going to have some shock and awe effect, i.e. Ricky Gervais, Seth MacFarlane, people like that. Comedian makes the jokes that they always kind of make, like the normal par for the course for them, even if they're a little bit rough. I mean, still, it's a little bit. It's an award show. Then you've got the pearl clutching, like the phony outrage, and I can't. Can you believe there's the write-up? Can you believe what Seth MacFarlane said? And everyone that's a millennial and younger goes, "Yeah, I can totally believe that.
I can get it.
It's Seth MacFarlane. Of course, he would say that.
Yeah. Seth MacFarlane is why I watched, and that's why you hired me."
Right. I can totally believe Ricky Gervais would say that, because that's exactly the kind of joke that Ricky Gervais would make. And so I think at this point, it's like, unless you're going to be somebody, and I'm not being critical of these people outright, but I think unless you're going to hire somebody like Steve Martin Short, maybe a traditional comedian who's been around a little bit, who doesn't see it as their place to make those kind of jokes. Like, they're gonna play ball a little bit. And again, I don't say that in a critical way, because I think they're good guys. I just think they're the people that you could see going, yeah, they'll play ball a little bit and they'll be nice. They're not going to make too risky of jokes if they're asked to. I think that's about it. If you're a comedian, I wouldn't even accept hosting at especially the Oscars, but probably most of the award shows, unless you're a comedian and you're willing to do that. Like, I don't think it's wrong if Steve Martin does that and kind of plays nice all night, but I also think that's not necessarily what people are going to tune in for. So you either are making this kind of a New York Ballet Met artsy fartsy night and you don't care who watches because it's not for a national audience, or if you're going to invite Seth MacFarlane, you just expect and accept he's going to make some jokes that we might have to apologize for tomorrow. And so I get it. I totally get what he's saying. I totally agree. I don't see why most comedians would want to host, especially the Oscars. I still enjoy watching the Oscars. Again, I'm not watching to, worship whoever gets an award. I just want to see what movies look cool. And that's a really good way to see some clips of actors, some of the best clips from certain actors or movie, or it's great. And it's also fun to see movies that you've enjoyed over the year get recognized for being fun. If Indiana Jones wins, best new soundtrack for a film, it's like, that was a fun movie. I'm glad that they got, I'm glad that it got an award for that.
I do. I love watching like conductors and writers and the like win awards and give speeches like that. That gives me the feel sometimes, right? To see with when you got into the business, you never expected that you were going to be on a stage making an acceptance speech. Like, and there you are. Like, I feel really good for those folks when they do those awards. If you ask me, actually, oddly enough, I would rather them show the entirety of the Oscars, or at least have it all available, and maybe break it up into. I would appreciate breaking it up into, look, we're going to do actors, actresses, directors, and overall film at this time. We're going to do everything else at another time. I'd have fun watching the everything else portion of it.
Yeah. I would too. Some of those smaller technical awards that people don't get nominated for, it would be cool to see the clips highlighting the work that those people do. Just like they might play a 30-second snippet for best actor. And highlight one of their scenes. I'd love to see some of the technical
Let's see some of the groundbreaking CGI that, what's his face created, and I'd be all about that.
And I still don't, which also for me begs the question, because I don't think the networks have quite figured out how to use their cable channels and these streaming apps. And maybe there's rules and they won't, cross the wires. But I found myself several times in the last few months over the holidays, Thanksgiving parade, New Year's Eve, award shows, struggling on streaming to find some of these things. And I'm going, if ABC is doing a midnight thing for New Year's Eve, why don't they just simulcast it on Disney Plus? I don't understand. If CBS is hosting the Oscars, why isn't it simulcast on the Paramount Plus app or whatever? I don't. They haven't figured out how to use these, or they must still be like contractually beholden to these cable networks to go, we're not playing it anywhere else. Because frankly, some of these major events, if you get paid by eyeballs on commercials, I don't know why some of these guys don't, like the CBS YouTube channel isn't playing a live stream of some of this stuff, or the ABC YouTube channel. Frankly, you're going to get paid off of social media and you're going to have eyeballs on your commercials anyways. And I know there's some regional commercials or issues because companies pay for regional ads and things like that. Right. But they've still got to have a national broadcast, or it says like commercial break, back in a moment or something. Why haven't they figured out, if you have a streaming platform and a live event in the world is going on that's not something like NFL, why haven't they figured out, maybe we should also be playing this on our mobile app?
Exactly, yeah. Because for sports, like many of them are doing this for NFL specific stuff. Like I know they are, and for a lot of college football, I know they are. And it's great. Like on the user interface for like watching an NFL game on Peacock, for example, instead of on NBC, like you have options there, right? So you can watch the Spanish version if you want, or they'll have like this super prime version that like highlights players and like shows the routes as they go, and will highlight a defender if he's a threat to blitz and things like that. I find that interesting to check those things out. Or ESPN on their app with college football, they'll have what's his face? Kicker for the Colts, the old punter, Pat McAfee. They'll have Pat McAfee and his crew, and they're on the sidelines with a cameraman. And like that's one of their broadcasts, is this just them on microphones running around the sidelines following the game. It's fun. And like the more they can come up with ways of like that to get people to enjoy these games more, the better for them. And so I feel like the major sports brands of the NFL and NCAA football have kind of figured some of that out.
Yeah.
But so much of the rest of it is lagging.
And it's interesting, maybe part of what would be fun and maybe a way to capitalize on younger audience in something like the Academy Awards. Maybe if somebody like Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep aren't up for major awards, maybe they're the B team on Netflix that's presenting and talking over a little bit and adding commentary to, I love the cinematography award. Here's why that category is so important. You've got people working on film. Let some of the people that aren't up for awards be like a B team commentary crew.
Do have a color commentary over the Oscars. That'd be fun.
And you could have really likable people that have industry knowledge and could sit and talk through a little improv, a little bit cue card, and could sit and almost like the parade route, right? Like you've got the little desk set up and you've got some folks talking, and you could easily do something like that and put it on Netflix. And guess what? Tons of people would be watching the Oscars, but on Netflix. I don't know. It just seems like a really shocking gap that they haven't figured out how to fill yet, where it's the Nickelodeon version of the NFL games, right? Like trying to make it fun. it's if you really want to appeal to different people, then maybe throw the stream somewhere where they can watch it and find it in the first place. And we play that every year with the Thanksgiving Day parade. How do I figure out where to watch this thing? Trying to find it on a website in an FAQ section buried under, Macy's parade website. It's crazy. Anyways,
because a lot of people like me, like I still watch broadcast TV with an antenna, and I get the major channels, and it's perfectly fine. But I mean, there's a lot of people who can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So
I haven't had an antenna hooked up to one of my TVs in easily 10 years.
yeah.
So if I can't find it on a streaming platform or a live stream on YouTube, I'm just not watching it. Like, it just isn't on in my household. So like, that's it. That's all I'm asking for is like, you don't have to sell the content to somebody else. Just put it on a thing that you already own.
Yeah.
Even if you just simulcast what's already on TV, just copy it and let people watch it. Anyways, that's my soapbox for the week. Is there anything else? I did mention Indiana Jones. I watched Indiana Jones 5. Lots of very sort of lukewarm responses to that. I thought it felt a lot like the other Indiana Jones films. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was fun to watch on Disney Plus and, with bonus content. You watching anything new?
Oh, nothing new. Sticking to WWE, which there's some news there that maybe I think we'll probably take a little bit of a deep dive into the streaming stuff next week. But as for the rest of 2024, I'll be watching WWE on Hulu and major events on Peacock. And Fargo, still in Fargo. There's a lot of Fargo to watch. Like I knew that going in, but I realized like, man, I'm going to be stuck on Fargo for a long time because I'm a completionist and I don't like having like 3 irons in the fire because my brain doesn't like to do that. And so I'll be watching Fargo for a good long time. And it's I think another thing that we're going to talk about some other time is how it's affecting me. I'm watching a football game and something bad happened and the words "Geez Louise" came out of my mouth. So I'm watching a lot of Fargo.
If we didn't already know you were from the Midwest, we might think that's a problem, but you fit right in here.
It's not a problem and I fit right in, but I mean, I know that it was like Fargo that did that to me. So
yeah, well, you are what you watch, Kendall.
That's right. I'm a pro wrestler from the Midwest.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Well, thank you everyone for tuning into this episode. It's been a ton of fun. Please head over to our current sponsors. Please head over to our current sponsors, Artius Man. That's ARTIUSMAN.com. Use promo code The Middle. You'll save 25% off your first order, which is crazy. Valentine's Day is coming up, so don't tell me you're not thinking about things that you need because it's just going to be here in a few short weeks. And there's candles and there's all kinds of bathroom products that are incroyable. So go ahead and check those out. You're going to love them. Yeah. We get a little crazy here in the Midwest. You're going to love those products. Make sure to check them out. Again, use promo code The Middle. Save you 25% off your first order. That helps them. That helps you get great products, and that helps us because Artius Man is a great sponsor. Other companies could be great sponsors too, but we're going to leave that decision up to them. So this has been a very fun episode. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we can go pull Kory back in next week. He'll probably have some travel stories, and we hope you'll tune in. See you.